Good afternoon and welcome to the very first Listen to Your Mother Austin show. We're so thrilled to have all of you here today, and we have an amazing show in store. I'm Wendi and this is my friend and co-producer Jennifer Sutton. We've had the honor and privilege of spearheading the movement that was started by Ann Imbig last year in Madison, Wisconsin. This year, Ann's idea of celebrating the words of mothers has spread across the country, and there are now Listen to Your Mother shows in Austin, Madison, Spokane, Los Angeles, and Northwest Indiana. But of course, our show will have its very own Austin, Texas charm.
Thank you, Wendi. I'm Jennifer Sutton. I'm so excited we're giving motherhood a microphone today. Our sincere thanks to our national sponsor, Blog Her, an amazing organization that supports women online through a website, ad network, and an annual conference. And a huge thanks to our local sponsors, AT&T Executive Education and Conference Center, Scandinavia Furniture, and Milk and Honey Spa, where hopefully we will all collapse tomorrow. Out of respect for our readers, please silence your cell phones and note that there will not be an intermission. So let's get started. The first woman we'd like to bring up is Krystin Crain Johnson. Krystin is the wife of Austin attorney Mike Johnson, the mother of Austin third grader Madeline Johnson, a fugitive from numerous women's service organizations, and a fifth-generation Texan. Today, she's reading Our Chair. Krystin?
I didn't want to buy a Barca lounger. I was young and educated and cosmopolitan, living in a chic 38th floor apartment on the Chicago lakefront. Such people do not have recliners. Recliners were for stubbly beer-drinking men in wife-beater t-shirts with tufts of back hair springing up through the holes like dandelions on the sidewalk. But my pregnancy staggered onward, and the carpal tunnel got so bad, my arms throbbed all night. Finally, in my 8th month, after 3 weeks without sleeping, my husband talked me into going to the recliner store. The recliner store is a lot like lunching at McDonald's. Lots of choices, all revolting, and everything will make you sick. I had a strange sense of humor when I was pregnant, and at one point in our shopping, I became convinced that I wanted the recliner with a veldt tapestry print, with zebras and giraffes and lions cavorting across the armrest. I studied art history in graduate school, and I think I saw it as more of a Dada installation piece than actual furniture, sort of a family version of Duchamp's toilet. However, cooler hormones ultimately prevailed, and a modest recliner of subtle neutral hue was selected and delivered to our apartment, where it looked utterly ridiculous. A bourgeois intruder. The recliner and my daughter are now both 3 years old, and it would be difficult to say to which I'm more attached. You see, raising Madeline has been such a joint effort between the two of us. A week away from giving birth, I sat in it stiff and cold, watching the nightmare of 9/11 unfold on television and wondering what sort of world would be left for my daughter. It was where I sat, exhausted and desperate, holding my daughter in every conceivable contortionist position in a failed attempt to breastfeed. And it was where 6 weeks later, I huddled and whimpered into a telephone, while an angel of a nurse assured me that infant formula would not necessarily lower my child's SAT scores. I sat there every night for Madeline's 1 a.m. feeding, watching the first half of an entire season of Northern Exposure reruns. On the night she couldn't sleep, I rocked her there, murmuring old Cowboy Junkies songs when I'd run out of lullabies. And the night she had that terrible stomach virus, the one that ultimately landed us in the emergency room, I sat up all night holding her, wiping up her messes and urging her to drink Pedialyte. The chair became a lifeboat for a mom up all night with a sick kid. Always, on nights when she became very ill, as children invariably do after midnight, I would roll over and tell my husband with despair in my voice, "That's it. We're going to the chair." Like we were in an old prison movie. One night, AMC showed Key Largo at 2 in the morning and earned my undying gratitude. Another time, after a night of watching infomercials, my husband found me in the chair the next morning with tears streaming down my face, insisting that Vanessa Williams was my best friend in the whole world, and she really did want me to have beautiful skin. I sat in that chair, heartsick and broken, and told my husband about my daughter's 2-year-old checkup, how the doctor was worried about her speech development and her inability to make eye contact, about how words like hearing impairment, cognitive functioning, and sensory integration disorder were about to become a part of our everyday vocabulary. And 18 months later, I am the incredibly blessed mother who collapses in that chair most evenings and wishes that for 2 minutes my kid would just stop talking. Madeline and I have rocked around the world and back in our chair. It's where I read her stories and where she tells me the stories she's invented. In the late afternoons, when the sunbeams weave through the shutters, I've held her there looking at her face in the light and wondered why our language has no word for the color of her eyes. We have long since traded our posh Chicago apartment for a modest one-story home in Austin where we can be near our families. The recliner seems more at home here among the stuffed animals and the crayons. In a bizarre variant of the traditional furniture gender equation, it has become so completely a mom's chair, my chair, that my husband rarely uses it. I'm a mom now, and in my new life, the prettiest and most stylish things aren't necessarily the best or the strongest. And what looks beautiful and what holds you when the chips are down are often very different. These are not bad lessons for my little girl to learn. Madeline has recently become interested in The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. The book tells us that when all is said and done, all you really need is a quiet place to sit and rest. When this chair has served its time, I will buy another. Maybe the one with the zebras. Thank you.